everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at you. And we're so glad that you're here, and we pray that you guys are blessed today by what the Lord has to say. We're excited to share about this last week and what God has done, and so we'll be going over that here shortly. But first, as always, we want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has given to us and who continues to support us. It's just truly amazing to just see what God does. And
well, and as far as our trip to Kansas City, we got the car today. We secured the car today. And here's the cool part. See, this is the cool part. This is why you need Michelle and not Devin. But it's like we were able to use all of our points that we've accumulated here to do all of our hotel stays. So literally it's going to cost us like nothing. So we have to just get the car, gas, and food. Let's go. Boom, boom. We're going to go there, come back. And we'll get into more of that later, but I'm just saying, like, because of you guys reaching out to us and helping us, we were able to just get it done today. And so it's just like,
get all
praise
the plans
the Lord.
done.
Thank
and
you,
then
Jesus.
Hopefully we'll let you know. We're definitely going to keep you updated on our excursion.
Well, and the funny thing is, we didn't get as much of a response as we not nearly as much of a response as we normally do with the Casting the Nets video, because I think that one's like 10 minutes long. Normally my Casting the Nets videos are like, 2 minutes, 2:30, something like that. And so it's like, okay, I got you. And I guess a lot of people say, I don't know what happened, but it's like, even that, I think that's the Lord. The Lord, again, putting it in such a way that you have like just enough to go do what you need to do. And I'm just like, wow, this is like man, you're awesome. So huge praise the Lord. Thank you guys, because man, we're going on a journey.
But so, and if you would like to give to us, you can. We do have a PayPal and a Cash App link below, and you can click either of those. So we are going to be going over Act 3, Scene 10 of this restoration play that the Lord has us on. For those who maybe don't know,
don't go into the long War and Peace version.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say this all began in 2020, April of 2020, and each year basically is an act. And
basically.
So
and each week is a scene. So
this is the third year, and we're in Scene 10.
Girl, give me some. Dang, you did it. That's the Cliff Notes perfection right there.
But so this week, I think when you last...
Now that's just kind of funny. The storyteller telling the concise person to not be storytelling.
I know, it is kind of ironic.
It's like a little switcheroo there. Isn't that normally what you have to tell this guy? Yeah, pretty much. It's like, don't give me the War and Peace version. Oh, okay, go full-blown Lord of the Rings on it. Okay, cool, I'm good. Let's do it. It's like, no, the other way.
But
anyway, go ahead.
So basically in our last video, we mentioned, or at least talked about, how we were seeing the fulfillment of a prophetic vision that we had at the end of October, and it was related to the doc series, and those were just a series of visions we had throughout September and October of last year, and a little bit into November.
But it was also connected to the dream I had recently had regarding touring and getting orientation in this new school, or just not really even orientation, just getting like seeing what it's all about, seeing what God's going to be doing. What are we going into? What is that life going to look like? What can we expect? And God just spent a whole week just having me in a bubble, just sharing all that stuff with me.
And it was really interesting because as we came into Sunday, it was very clear that, okay, this bubble time is over. And and then we literally Sunday night went through as a family, and I think I mentioned this on the last video, where we just went through our whole doc series, and we kind of like okay, well, we're getting
It's like, Lord, why are we doing this?
refreshed and familiar with all of this.
What's going on here?
And so we were really like, okay, here we go. Apparently the Lord has this for us. And it was actually that night. Did you want to share about just what you had heard about the doc series and when it was going to start?
Oh, the 616?
Yeah.
Had to get the little, had to get something important. Oh, Flash coming at you. Anyway. But yeah, so this was on Sunday night that the Lord showed me this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we were like, wow, why are we going through all this doc series? It's like previously on the doc series. It's like you go through that and get that going because you know the next season's coming. Mm-hmm. Get them refreshed. Marketers do it all the time. And we were joking around about how a lot of times on Netflix it'll say, it's official, another season is coming, but then it won't tell you when the season is coming. There's some shows, Michelle, she's still waiting for. It's like, when is that coming on? It's been official for 2 years.
Yeah, for real.
It's like, come on. Is it really official? Is it? This is starting to look like a prophetic word. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's going on? But I just kind of, if you can picture, like, if you're familiar with Netflix and they have those, next season coming at this time, I actually saw that. I felt like I saw it in the spirit. And it shocked me because I was like, there's no way this is the Lord. My arm is itchy. Sorry. Because it was a date, and the date was 6/16. Mm-hmm. And it was like coming, doc series season 2 coming June 16th, but I think it said June 16th, but I also saw a 6/16. Sometimes the Lord will do that. It's like he overlays things so you can see both at the same time. And that's what I did. I saw both of them at the same time. And
which was just kind of shocking for us because we're like, one, like you just said, it was a date, and so even when Devin shared it, he was like, you know what, guys, like I'm gonna share this because this is what I'm seeing, but again, it's
put
a time
no
frame.
Stock into it
because
no investment.
We've had so many experiences where you feel like, oh, maybe the Lord's moving, and then nothing happens, and you're just kind of left like, oh man, like nothing happened.
Or the Lord's moving now, and he is moving now, but he's moving now into a process.
Yeah.
And you think it's a now manifestation.
Yeah.
And it's been so many disappointments in that area.
Yeah, so many. And so it was just like, okay, well, we'll receive it, Lord. If you have something for us, that's awesome. But at the same time, at least it's only like 4 days away, so we don't have to wait super long.
That's right. It was on the 12th, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so that was Sunday night, and we're just like, okay, well, at least it's not this like super long time to wait to see if anything happens.
Well, and we weren't hanging on needles and pins. Hanging on needles and pins? You know what I'm saying?
Pins and needles.
Same thing, but it's like we weren't agitated in our spirits waiting for it like we have many times in the past.
Well, and I think it was different because it wasn't necessarily like, ooh, the promises are going to come to pass so much as it was like, ooh, the doc series is going to start. Meaning like God's going to be giving us visions or something.
Well, and the cool thing about the doc series is that those visions are what God is literally doing right now.
Yeah.
The manifestation. They're not prophetic visions like the... what's the first series I had of visions? Like
the Ancient Ruins.
The Ancient Ruins series. Thank you. Those are all prophetic. Some of those things are still, we're waiting for those to happen. Yeah. In fact, most of those, almost all of those, we're waiting for those to still happen. I'm like, okay.
And yeah, like you said, really until they were all like in the moment, until literally like the last I think two visions that we had concerning the doc series, which kind of makes sense because a lot of times when you watch a show, they give you like, hey, look forward to what's coming, that kind of thing.
And they give that to you at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that had to do with us going on the yacht that's on this dock in this vision, and that yacht represents our new life that the Lord's going to put us into and launch us out into the waters.
Yeah.
And and so that's what I got. I got that 6:16, and I was just like, oh my word. I was like, whatever, I'm not going to be afraid. We can go there. You know what I mean? Now, did you want me to keep going, or did you want me to just add that part and you have something else?
No, you can keep going.
Keep going? Or you want me to fast forward to it?
I guess.
Okay.
Well,
we don't really know what we're doing here.
I don't know.
We have not scripted this out.
How to set it up, because it's like almost
how to set what up? What do you want to do next? Where are we going next?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Like,
I don't know.
You said you wanted to set it up. What's the it?
No, I just meant like the awe and like wonder of the Lord if we go through like the whole story first and then like share this, or should we share this and then go through the whole story?
Well, what would be the next thing to do?
I guess maybe just share the story and then we can share
and then
the
we'll see how this fits
let's
in.
do that. Okay.
Yeah, so I might have grabbed my prop too early.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm not editing any of this out.
What?
A little behind the scenes stuff. Go ahead. No? Okay.
So after Devin like gave this, like, hey, this is this time, and it was just like, okay, well, Lord, if it's you, it's you. If it's not, oh well. And it was funny too, because we were just telling the kids, because there are times when you do miss it, and we were just saying like we're considering it a prophetic fart, because it was just, they of course thought it was hilarious, because sometimes it's just things can come out and it doesn't turn out the way that you thought. It's just gas. And so
a lot of desire, hopes,
stinky
dreams, stuff I thought was gonna have. Oh, never mind. Oh, sorry about that.
But it was just interesting, because for us 6/16 is super significant to us. It was actually the day that we officially met in person.
In 2008.
In 2008. And it really was like
during the year when she prayed an impossible prayer.
Yep.
For an impossible dream to come true. That year. It was a time frame.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it was.
And the Lord was like, okay,
see, time
done
frames,
deal.
they've always been.
They've always been with you.
But, and so basically, but, we're just waiting to see what the Lord was going to do. And then of course, like, the Lord is always speaking. He was doing so much on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, as in regards to just speaking to our hearts about the promises and
amazing stuff.
Just continuing for me personally, to be delving into the different road trips that the Lord has for our family, because there's very specific places He wants us to go, and it was just continuing to just even give us more prophetic insight on why He has us, why He's been highlighting certain areas. And so it was just really amazing. And then on top of it, they're just on the 14th, which would have been, Tuesday. Basically, it was just like, we were seeing such similarities in what God was speaking compared to what was going on in our life at that time. In 2008. Because on the 14th, I got an email, and that's when we first had any sort of communication. It was just like, oh yeah, hey, like, I'm a face-to-face person. Let's figure out a time when we can meet, basically. And
so basically what you're doing is you're comparing when we met in 2008 in June of the 14th, 15th, and 16th to what's been going on now in June of 2022.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And
just wanted to
thank you.
Spackle that in there.
And so it was just interesting, because God was just, I don't know, there was just this sense of Him highlighting certain things on those days that seemed to match up. Were very similar. And so, for example, like we had been praying about just some of the places that the Lord has for us on the road trip, and I had this calendar, and Devin, it was on the night of the 14th, I was just in prayer because my heart was it was like that, and the spirit of the Lord was brooding over things, and there's just times for me when I'm just like kind of brooding and just like, okay, Lord, what are you speaking? What are you saying? And I started praying.
I love the brooding.
And Devin then just took his finger and he ended up just pointing on June 15th. And
oh, that's right. Wow. I totally forgot about that.
And
because you were really wanting answers and you were really wanting to get into it. And I just felt like the Lord, I saw myself in a vision just taking my finger, just going. And there was this great big calendar we got from, one of those desk calendars that you can get at Walmart. That has the great big sheets of paper.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just put I didn't even know where my finger was going. I was just following the Lord. I just put it down, and it landed right on June 15th.
Yeah, which
right
of course
in the middle of the month, and it was in the middle of the week. I mean, it was the 15th, and I was like, oh wow, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like, the Lord's gonna speak to you about this tomorrow, and He did.
He did. Well, and what was so amazing is because I was like, Devin, do you realize that basically on the June 15th in 2008, he called me so we could set up the place and the time.
Wow.
And I just really felt like the Lord was like, this is what I'm going to be doing. And so literally we wake up in the morning, and normally Devin's leading the morning God time. But that morning it was just like, all right, let's start delving into this. Let's start praying over it.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't leading anything.
And so we ended up going through each place that the Lord has for us to go, and He started speaking over the places.
It was on His heart. He was just like, this is what I want to do this morning.
Yeah.
We don't want to, Michelle, she's not going to wait. She had to wait last night because it wasn't practical to have to go into it all. That late at night. He was like, tomorrow. Basically, he was like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think I was eating some Raisin Bran or something. I was just like, boom. And I just did it.
And it was just like, oh, all right. Because I continued to pray, a little bit. And then I just was like, you know what? I really feel like the Lord's like, He's going to touch on this tomorrow. And so it was really cool because it wasn't so much like, He spoke to the place, and He did speak to the time, just not necessarily like, the date you'll go, but I felt like it was just, He really spoke to the time as far as like how long to be in each place.
And it turned out to be like an all-day thing.
It really did. It was
literally all day. The Lord had me on something personal all day, and I was like, Michelle, look at this. We've done this before.
Yeah.
The Lord has had us doing this before. It's like all day, off and on. Of course, we're parents, so it's not like we're just sitting in front of a computer all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like every little moment, oh, let's check this out. Oh, let's check that out.
Yeah.
And it was like that all day. And I was like, I didn't even realize it till the end of the day. I was like, God had me on my thing, and He had you on your thing all day.
Yeah, and
I was
just
like,
kind of brooding
that's what He
over
did just before, the last time, just before things shifted and changed and started going in a slightly different direction for us. I was like, whoa.
And so I just thought it was amazing because I was like, wow, here's the Lord saying, I'm setting up both the place and how long to be in those places. And it's a place, those are places where He's saying like, I am going to meet with you. Yeah. Because that's really what the whole heart behind, like in 2008, it was just like, okay, here's the place, here's the time, but it's where we're going to meet. And I just really felt that that's what God's heart was. He's like, here's the places, here's how long to be in these places, and I am promising you, like, I am going to be meeting with you, meeting with your family in these places. And so that was just amazing. And I was just like, wow, Lord, okay. So there's some big expectations going into the 16th because, for us, that was when we met.
That was when we met.
And so we just kind of, but at the same time, it was just like, you know what, Lord, you just do what you want to do.
It's like, are we going to meet the promises?
Yeah, like I don't know,
meet something. Something happened on the 16th. Something.
Well, and then it was a reminder of like, oh, he was talking about the doc series vision.
Yeah, it's like,
and so we went.
He didn't say like, oh, you're going to get this huge blessing that's going to usher you into. You know what I mean? He didn't say any of that.
No.
It was just like the doc series 616. It was like, okay, that was a good little context.
Yeah.
Boundary to okay, well that could mean anything. That could be anything, you know.
And so
the 16th comes.
16th comes, and it's just kind of like, okay, it was pretty much like.
It was almost like a rest day.
It really was.
And I was like, oh well.
Oh well.
Prepare to plug your spiritual noses, because I think I might have passed it. I might have messed it up, you know.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because we went, we had our basically normal morning God time, and then we had we came into the evening God time. It was after worship, and I was like, all right, did anybody have anything to share, receive anything? And our daughter, she was like, well, Dad, I guess it was just a prophetic fart, because we haven't heard anything, and we haven't, nothing's happened, and we're just kind of sitting there like, all right, well, I guess, Lord, what do you have? What do you want to share? And I felt it was important to just we started talking about just some of the things that the Lord had been doing as far as like all these road trips, and kind of updating them. A lot of times, like, it's like, okay guys, well, let's talk about some updates of this is what the Lord's doing, and that sort of thing, because they're a part of the process as well. And so we're just sitting there chit-chatting about all of that, and
it was like 8:59,
and it was kind of a late night for our God time. I forget why. I think just sometimes we end up with later night times, and then it was just like, okay, well, it's basically bedtime, so I guess we should wrap things up. And
well, it was crazy because it was 8:59 when you were getting ready to start praying, and we've been seeing 59s like crazy for a long time. We still are seeing them to this day. And for us, when we see the 59s, that just means divine turnaround is coming. There's going to be a turnaround coming. And it's like, well, that's funny, because you've just been spending time on your vacation stuff all day, and I've been doing what the Lord's having me doing like all day. That's when there was a turnaround then as well, But little did anyone know that for like the last 20 minutes, for basically since like 8:40 up into that moment of 8:59, I have received a doc vision.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there just like, is this real? Is this real? Because it wasn't anything super crazy. It wasn't anything super crazy at all. And I was just like, but I really feel like this is it. I'm like, are you serious? Like, now? Like Angie Stolba, she came up with a word where the Lord's like, I'm going to bless you when you least expect it. I'm going to come at you when you least expect it. You're going to see my goodness when you least expect it. That's why we're going to Kansas City this week. Because the Lord just blessed us when we least expected it. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh my word. So our God time is just like almost over, and it's like, that's when I get this doc series vision. And then of course Michelle, she starts talking about some other stuff like what you just talked about, that you talked about, and I'm just sitting there just quiet, unusually quiet. That's when you know something's wrong, like, or something's very right. It's like, what's going on? Wait a second, Devin hasn't been speaking for like at least 3 minutes. Yeah. What's happening?
Yeah. And then I think I was just like, okay, well, we'll pray unless anybody has anything else to share.
But the fact is, you said that at 8:59, and I was like, wow, like what a mind boggle. Like at 8:59, I was like, we're about to see a divine turnaround right now. And then you were like, well, did you have anything to share? Or I was like, wait. That's what it was, because you're getting ready to pray, and I was like, wait. And everyone looked at me, and I was like, I have a doc vision. And the whole room erupted in freak out.
Yeah, they were
Like,
all
"What?
super excited.
No way. They're like, Dad, it wasn't a fart after all.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny. And so I got this vision. It was just like, let me fast forward a little bit because at night when I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'm laying in the bed, and I'm not so much tripping out about the visions and the doc series starting. I'm tripping out at the fact that God gave me a time frame and it actually happened.
Yeah.
That was the thing that blew my mind more than anything. I'm like, this is real. That was what I was praying about. I was like, is this just me coming up with this? Is this my imagination or something like that? But it's like a lot of times with visions, you don't come up with that stuff. And a lot of times, I'm not trying to belittle the Lord, but sometimes the visions that he comes up with, or especially the one that I'm going to share here in a second, it's like, I wouldn't imagine that being the start of the doc series. I wouldn't. I'd come up with something more dramatic, more, grab the people's attention, I'd do something like that. But the Lord's like, nah, I'm just going to go get born in a manger. That's it. Yeah. Have the angels come and sing a chorus to that shepherd over there who no one trusts his word. Yeah, I think I'll do it that way. Like, Lord, don't you want to be known? But ultimately, I just knew it was the Lord, and I had you got to step out in faith. But by that time, I was like, I just know that this is the Lord. And so I got this vision of us. The last time we were on the dock and the series closed, the Lord has said we were returning to love. Let's return to love. And then we returned to love, and it was a bench. And we just sat on that bench and we were waiting. So it was a waiting bench, and it ended up turning out to be like Abraham sacrificing Isaac. Are you willing to go and sit here and wait and have all this time pass and all these different things and ups and downs go on, and you're just going to still stay right here? You're going to see boats sink. You're going to see boats crash into the harbor. You're going to see seagulls come and poop on your bench. It's just, well, are you going to get up? Are any of those things going to make you? And it was like, we didn't. And the Lord it was one of those moments that basically the Lord was like, now I know. It's like, wait, Abraham, no, don't touch the child. Now I know that there's nothing. You're not holding back anything from me. I know. And I just wanted you to see that as well, really. But so we're sitting there on this bench. It opens up with us sitting there on the bench, and we're just chit-chatting, talking, not realizing the before and after picture of like how much we have literally grown closer as a family. You know what I mean? We've just grown individually and closer as a family. Because when you live with each other, you don't get to see all the little incremental changes that means growth as a family, until you look back on it and go, wow, we really have changed. And so we're just sitting there talking in this vision, and out of the corner of my eye, now let me set it up for you. We're sitting on this bench that's on this dock that's kind of like a pier, and just, literally, if I wanted to get up and go take like 5 steps, I could jump into this water. So there's the ocean's right there. And then, but off to the right, there's this huge yacht. And it's like, that's what we're waiting to get on. This new life that we're getting launched in. And out the corner of my eye, I see the Lord, like, there. We're just doing our thing. And it was just like, whoa, it's the Lord. And I was like, it's the Lord. And it's like in the vision, I saw him at the corner of my eye, but then I went down, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Lord. And when I went back up to see, he was gone. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the Lord at all. Maybe, I don't know, what's going on. And it's like, and so we keep on talking, and then this bench, the bench, you have to understand, is up against a retaining wall. And beyond that retaining wall is the beach, And that's why you have to go up these stairs to get to the beach, and you walk to the city. And so we're sitting there talking, and it's just like, okay. And then out the corner of my eye, I see the Lord literally lying on his side on the top of the retaining wall. And he's just laying there. I mean, our heads are like right by his arm, and we don't even realize it. And he's just like, hey, you know? And we're like, ah! But in a good way, like, oh, yay, you know? And he's just like, yeah, he's just all super happy.
Yeah.
The Lord is super happy, and it is very unfortunate that in most of our life and the spiritual warfare and the intensity of the soul and the noise of the soul and all that stuff, we just don't see him that way, you know? But a lot of times it's just, but he's just like super happy. He's like, yay. And so we made room for him, you know, like there's that song we've been listening to, Make Room, by with that Mary Andrews sings. I don't think she wrote it, but we split apart. It was like me and Michelle, we literally split to give him room, which is really the symbol of her wedding ring that I had made for her, special made for her. It had my birthstone on one side and hers on the other, but there was a big diamond in the middle, you know, big as in like that little. But the diamond was bigger than the two stones to represent that God is going to be between us all the time. And he just sat between us, and he started chit-chatting and talking, and it was just like you could tell something new was dawning. And that pretty much was the first vision. Just, I was like, oh, that's really kind of normal. But it was like, okay, let's start off with a reuniting of us, you know. And it's just like there's just this burst of hope and joy, and just like, whoa. And it's like, and we began to talk, and the Lord was talking, and it was just like, we're like, what are we talking? I didn't know what we were talking about, but then I realized that God times notes is what he was talking to us about.
Well,
you know?
What was really cool though, well, this is what we realized that a little bit later on, because as soon as after Devin had shared the vision and we had like been like, whoa, this is amazing. Out.
Yeah.
It just came
it was so fun.
Back to me of just like, hey, like go through like at during our nap time is usually when I journal, but it's also a time when I can just spend with the Lord. And that day I had been looking up some of the numbers. We had been seeing 188 and 88 a ton. And so I had just kind of gone through, and there were some scriptures that I got. And I ended up just sharing that in that moment, because literally like prior to that, it really was chit-chatting, like, let's just talk about this, that, and the other thing. But then after that vision, it was just like, oh, here, let's talk about this. And so we went through the whole document, and then it was after that we realized, hey, wait a minute, we've literally just lived out this vision tonight.
Like right now, like in this moment.
Currently.
See, and that's what I mean by the doc series visions. They're like literally things that are happening right now, in the now.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it was just like, whoa, Lord, like this is so awesome. And basically what God was saying and what he was speaking to us was basically that through the 188 and the 88 was basically that no man can reverse what God is going to do. And for us, it was like over the next 188 days. The reason why I put that in there is because when we were seeing the 188s, I ended up looking up, it was on June 15th actually, which actually is funny because that's about time. I just realized that. And the Lord was kind of speaking about time. But I looked it up, and it literally was, I was like, oh, what's 188 days from now? And it ends up being like our actual anniversary. And I was just like, whoa.
December 20th.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I really think that God is just speaking to this whole time. You know, for us personally, it was just like this, when we first met in 2008 to when we got married, it was just like this movement of the Lord in our life to bring us to this place where he's like, all right, you're married now. Like, here you go. Here's the answer to what you've been waiting for forever, and you know, that sort of thing, and the promise fulfilled in your life at that time. And so I was just feeling this sense of like God saying like no man can reverse what God is doing over the next 188 days. And symbolically, like he's going to bring us to our wedding and marriage. Like he is going to fulfill what he has promised.
Yeah.
And he is going to bring forth the victory, and no man can stop what the Lord is going to do. We will see his glory. That's funny because I think that's basically what you were talking about. Tonight.
That's what I was feeling in the spirit tonight.
Yeah.
You know, nothing can stop us.
Yeah.
Nothing can hold us down.
Yeah.
The Lord's like, that is my decree. Roll over it. That's what's happening right now. My heart is going before you. Nothing's going to stop you. Nothing's going to hold you back now. You are going, it's just a sense of like, nothing's going to hinder. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord. Yes, let it be. We are ready to see that, because all we've been experiencing is hindrance and delay and, you know, boulders. Like Lana Vosser with her word, like from boulders to birthing.
And so that's really what the Lord was sharing. And as in regards to like why there is like no man can reverse what God is going to do, that comes from Esther 8:8, and how basically this
there's a 888 right there.
The law that was, you know, put in for the Jews' victory was sealed by the king's ring, and so no man could reverse it. And so I feel like God is saying it's not just for us, but for his people, where he's saying like no one is going to stop what I'm getting ready to do. Like he is going, you know, and if it's like over the next 188 days, this of course was from June 15th, but it's just like God is like, he is going to bring forth victory, and no man can stop what he's going to do.
I just feel like the Lord's saying it like this. He's just like, if a man could stop me from delivering my people out of the hands of Pharaoh back in the days of Egypt, then you can stop what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? It's one of those like, you're not going to stop it. You can think you're going to stop it, and you can bring out your magicians and your hocus pocus, distract your focus, but it's like, it's not going to work. You know, what God's going to do is going to capture the entire nation, friend and enemy. You know, and the people of God are coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Much even like with Nehemiah and rebuilding the wall, there was no stopping what God was doing in that moment. You know, even though that Sanballat and Tobiah and all of that. What
kind of woman named their kid Sanballat? That's just messed up.
Maybe she lived in the desert.
She made a did. But so I want to touch on something else regarding the 616. Is that a good time to do that? I think before we move on, because there's a couple other things we want to share. But I just knew that like when the Lord showed up, it was like the ending of something and the beginning of something else. Because, well, I'll just go ahead and share the last part, because there was actually two parts.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you have a series, a lot of times when you have a series, it's a 2-hour premiere.
Yeah.
You know, so we had a 2-vision premiere. I was like, we weren't even expecting to get a doc series vision, but then we got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because we were getting ready to close again, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait. And my daughter's like, what? Did you get another one? I was like, I did. No. It's like she just met a celebrity and she's just going nuts. She's just like, this is amazing. She just loves to hear from the Lord. She loves the realness of the Lord. I think her heart's a reflection of so many hearts. It's like, I don't want religion. I want the real God to impact. I want to meet with the real God. If I don't have the real, then get out of my face. I mean, that's kind of how she is, you know? It's like, don't bring me no religious stuff. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And so that next vision was just like, we were done with whatever we were talking about, which we now know was about no man can reverse what I'm going to do. This is what I'm getting ready to do, and it's going to be amazing. You will see his glory. And the day before, the Lord told me, you will see the glory of God. You will, because you've continued to believe, you know? And then he was just like, okay, guys, come on, let's go. The parade is about to start. That was all that vision was. But that was enough Because it was like, whoa, like what does that mean? The parade is about to start. It's like basically, come on, let's go. And the parade is about to start. And I was like, what? And we all started to move. And then the vision ended, you know? And I thought that was super cool. And we were telling this to a dear friend of ours. And she was talking, she was saying, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe this. Devin and Michelle, a friend of mine, who's also a friend of ours, but more a friend of hers, if that makes sense. So like she had a dream, and this was the dream. She says, I dreamt I was sitting with you, and you said, now this is the two friends, they were sitting, I dreamt I was sitting with you, and you said, I know 616 means birth, but 616, the date is the end of the wilderness. And you pointed to the Bible. You said, this date is the end. And I was like, oh, I'm going to say it like my daughter says it. Oh, my gorgies. I was like, wow, that's so amazing, because here the Lord is giving someone else. Here we're getting this doc series, and it's like, wow, this is cool. And you want to know something else that's crazy? That night, I just happened to be on Amazon.com because we have Prime, and I was looking, I was like, one of my shows ended, I was like, I don't really have a show and so I was like, well, let's check out a show. And it was like, her show, what was it called? When Calls the Heart. I noticed, like this literally just came, this just came out. I don't know if it just came out, but I had been on Amazon Prime before, and I'd not seen it. And then there it was, boom. You know, she loves this show. Yeah. And it was just like, here it is, a new series that she loves. And I was wow.
And it was that same day, and so it's just
that same night. I even went in. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm probably not waking you up, am I? No, good, because your new series, your new TV show just came out. You have a new series that just came out tonight. On the 16th. And it was really cool, because here the Lord is giving someone else a dream about the 16th being an end of the wilderness. And that's pretty much what I was feeling, like that sense of like, no, Abraham, don't touch, you know, like, okay, LaVore, you're done, it's time to be done. Now I know, come on, let's go, the parade is about to start.
Well, and I think it's amazing too, because even for you especially, but when we met on June 16th in 2008, it was the end of that wilderness for you.
It really was.
And so it's just like, this is amazing to see how
that day marks the end. And I'm telling you, I've told the story many times, but I was like, I wasn't even going to go, because I was so overwhelmed with disappointment. I was like, it's just going to turn out like everything else. This is not going to happen. And the Lord was like, boy, you better get up off your butt and do what you said you're gonna do. You can't be. I'm not raising somebody that's gonna say they're gonna do something and not do it, and you think I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna still bless you. No, you got another thing coming. Somebody's gonna get that one. You didn't know a black man knew that song, did you? Anyway. Michelle's like, ooh, I'm getting uncomfortable. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, oh, when I heard that, I was like, oh, you know, you're right. Thank you for giving me the little sober up. And then I went and I met Michelle, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, you cannot let disappointment dictate your steps. You can't let disappointment dictate what's going to come out your mouth, you know. But praise the Lord that even when that does happen, if there's a mustard seed of submission to Him, and He will lead you right to what He promised you, even if you're in the worst place ever. Because I was, and so June 16th. End of my singleness wilderness, praise the Lord. I mean, we didn't get married until the 20th, but it didn't matter. Once I met her, it was all done. And I felt like the 16th, once that doc series started, even my daughter tonight, she was like, everything's been different since the 16th. I know we're still kind of doing what we normally do and everything, but you can see things happening. You can see tangible things taking place, like the blessing that we received. And now we got to go to Kansas City, and these things are happening. It's just like you just see it; it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is super cool.
Well, and then even our son yesterday, he came out and he was just like, I feel like I'm coming out to
our firstborn,
He's like, I feel like I'm coming out to this like party or celebration of some kind.
And I keep hearing music. I am not kidding. I keep every night for the past 2 nights. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight, but I keep hearing music, like celebration music, like that kind of ambient music that you might hear at like a festival or a carnival or a parade. Yes, or it's just this band in the distance, and you can hear them, but you're not like focused on them. And I'm just like, I keep taking off my headphones, and I'm going, what is going on? This is like, is there someone down there doing a band thing? No, that would be louder. Why am I hearing music? Oh, whatever. And I put my headphones. I was like, is it on the video? And I would pause the video to listen. It's like, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm like, wow, the Lord's doing something here. Because sometimes you hear things prophetically.
Yeah.
It's not always just a prophetic number or a prophetic sign. Sometimes you hear it. You literally hear it, even though it's not there. But it's just there in the spirit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, so it was just really awesome. And then basically Friday, the Lord was really speaking to us kind of about this parade. And
yeah, for the next 2 days, it was just parade dominant.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so in between that little editing moment, we just decided I'm just going to share the third vision.
Yeah. Which came
because
basically...
there was a third.
You got that on late Friday night.
Yeah.
But we shared it on...
oh, yes.
Saturday morning.
Because I was really feeling, I know some of you will understand this, some of you just hear me out, but I was really feeling just a sudden, like, I don't even know what to call it. It's almost like a hunger in your gut. You know, like when you're really, really hungry, you have a certain feeling, but it was not a physical hunger. There was just a hunger, and I've learned that that's the Lord pulling me in. He's trying to draw me into a place of prayer, and he's like, okay. So I just, Lord, what is it? What is it? And you don't always hear anything right away, you know, but it's just with me for several minutes, and so I go to a quiet place where I can just kind of somewhat isolate myself. In a box surrounded by 5 other people, and I'm just going, okay, Lord, what do you got? I was like, what's on your heart? And it's deep, kind of deep groaning stuff. You can't have that happen every time you pray. It's deep, and it's just like, what's going on? And I'm feeling this depth of emotion. It's really just kind of hitting me now.
I know, as you're just talking about it, I'm like,
the depth of emotion. I was feeling it, and it was just deep, and I was just like, man, it almost doesn't even feel good. You know, it's just like, oh God, what is going on? I just feel like bowing down and like travailing and just you know, moans and groans too deep for utterance. But I was just praying, and then I saw us in the vision, the doc series vision. I was like, oh my gosh, this is another doc series vision. Okay, what's going on? And so I saw the Lord was like, come on, the parade is about to start, which we had been talking about for a couple days since he said it. And my kids go up, they're leading the way, and, you know, Michelle, she's following, you know, leading from behind, and I'm getting ready to follow Michelle, and I'm kind of really following Michelle, but I'm like, the Lord's still at the bench, and I'm just like, whoa, he's not leaving the bench. What's going on? And then I see this huge sword. You know, most swords are about like that wide, you know, a lot of them. This sword was literally like this wide. I mean, it was like an anime sword. It was crazy. And this sword just goes plowing through the bench. And the bench looks so old and weathered. When we first got there and we returned to love, it looked so nice. But by this time, it looked old. It looked like it had been through so much weather, because it has.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and it was just this huge sword that just went plunging suddenly, violently, just boom through this bench, and it just cracked, and it reminded me of the Chronicles of Narnia, the movie version where Aslan was humiliated on the stone table, and then he was killed. But then once he was killed on the stone table cracked, and it was just a symbol of when Jesus died on the cross. He died to the law. He broke the law in half, so to speak. He didn't break the law in the sense of criminal, but it was like, no, I'm breaking that covenant because I am the new covenant.
Well, that's why the curtains separated, in the temple, and it was torn in two so that they could. He's basically representing like what Christ did allows all of us to enter into the Holy of Holies.
The curtains separated, huh? Mm-hmm. Curtains like curtains on a stage. Separated. Anyway, some of you will get that. But yeah, it was like, I was like, whoa. And then that was intense enough. But then, this is the crazy part. I saw the Lord take his sword and he starts going to town on that bench. I mean, he's whacking it and hacking it and smashing it to pieces. It's almost like if you've ever been in a situation where I have, you don't necessarily have to have been in one, but been in a situation where someone just loses it. They lose their cool and they start just going crazy and smashing and destroying stuff, because they've just lost their cool completely. It was kind of like that, but not, because the Lord was still very much controlled. He knew what he was doing. If you want someone to go and chop up some lumber and get it ready for the fire, send Jesus. He'll take that stuff out right quick.
Yeah. Well, and you said you were reminded of how Jesus overturned the tables. Right.
Well, because when you get a vision and an understanding of God that's so far removed, so far out of your comfort zone for how you like to see him in your little, Jesus on a shelf, little elf on the shelf Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it really messes you up. And no matter how close you are to the Lord, a lot of times he can do stuff that can mess you up. And that kind of messed me up. And I was just like, oh my gosh. It's like when the one guy was killed because he touched the ark, and it freaked David out. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to do. He's like, no, you don't be afraid, man. And so.
Yeah, or even like with Abraham, how like the Lord himself was just like, should we tell Abraham what we're getting ready to do? And Abraham was considered a friend of the Lord.
Yeah. But I don't want him. I don't want the destruction I'm about to do to freak him out.
Yeah.
And mess up our relationship. And so the Lord just smashing, and this bench just is a pile of rubble. I mean, literally, you could have just threw some kindling on it, a little lighter fluid, and whoosh, bonfire time. You know what I'm saying? And he's just standing there, just huffing and puffing, and but somewhere in my spirit, I just knew he wasn't mad. He wasn't angry. He wasn't mad at us. He was just very much controlled. And he was just smashing it. And he said out loud, but it was very soft, but you could hear it. And it was just like, you're not coming back here again. Meaning you're not coming back to a bench of waiting again. You're not going to hear from me and then go to a place and wait to see the fulfillment. You're not going to do that. And what the Lord was showing me there was just like, not only that, but he was giving me the feeling, and I just realized filming this video that even more of the vision is unfolding to me, about like he was giving me, this is how I feel about you guys. This is the longing and the long suffering and the aching, and that's birthed from desire, but I have to be patient and I have to wait for the right time, or else it's not going to be what any of us want it to be, And so he was just showing me, like, that's how he felt. And it's like, he's like, and he was just taking it out on that bench. It's like, you're not coming back here anymore. There's not going to be any more waiting. When I say we're going to the parade, we're going to the parade. And we're not going to return here. And I was like, well, Lord, that's cool. But you know what? There was this one vision you gave us where we were sitting on a bench waiting to go on the yacht. You seem like you just destroyed that bench. And the Lord's like, oh no, that's another bench altogether. And that's not that. Yes, you will be waiting, but it's not this kind of waiting. It's the kind of waiting that you do when you order food and you're waiting for your food. It's being cooked and it's just happening. It's going to come to you in a minute. You're not waiting. Oh, well, I ordered my food, but there's no real time frame on it. I don't know. That's a different kind of waiting. It's not the same thing. It's not a prophetic wilderness type of waiting. It's like that is over. It's done with. It's like I'm smashing it to bits, much like you might smash an altar, an idol's altar or something like that. He's just destroying it, And he was showing like, this is how I feel. Just like you guys have felt all of this longing and waiting and hope deferred heart sickness, he's like, I too have felt this. I've been with you. I've been trying to say the whole time, I have been with you guys in it. I'm not. Yes, I am the one sending you through it, but I'm sending you through it, and I'm going through it with you. That means I'm feeling everything, and I'm just. It's like, a husband longs to be married to his wife, just like a wife longs to be married to his husband, and so they both feel the same things. They experience the same things. It's very similar. And the Lord was just showing, he's like, this is how I feel about this waiting bench right now, where I'm just dashing it to pieces. And I'm doing it in such a dramatic, intense fashion, one, to show you this is coming from my heart, and this is how I feel, but also I'm just letting you know there's nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
There's no waiting bench to come back to, and I felt
in the same way.
No, not in the same way. Yeah, but it's like you're gonna just come back and wait to go into your promise. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's not gonna take forever. And I felt like that first series. Can I share this part? The first doc series. It had to do with us and our hearts. Everything about it. I feel like the Lord's saying this doc series is not gonna be that at all.
Yeah.
Even though it is always about the heart. God's always focused on the heart. But what's happening right now? It's about Him revealing Himself. Him showing Himself strong on our behalf. 2 Chronicles 16:9. Him demonstrating His glory, Him showing and revealing, and I tell you what, that's literally just what He's been doing this whole week. Even though we're still in kind of like a preparatory departure type of thing, it's still He is like, He's like, you've seen the high school of your dream, that upper education. You've signed up for it.
Yeah.
You've prophesied into your impossible. You told it to come to life, and it has risen. It is me, and I'm ready to take you there. And it's just that's what's been happening. And I feel like I said that wrong, but anyway. And so that's it. We got like 3 doc series visions this week, and it started on the 16th. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and there was some other just really amazing things that the Lord was sharing this week, but that's really the heart of what we just felt like we wanted to share, and what the Lord wanted to share is just like, look at what He is doing. Look how He is
doing, not gonna
moving.
Do. What I'm saying?
And so it'll just be an interesting week to just continue to see what the Lord is going to be doing. And
every day we wake up and we're going, what's going to happen today?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's happening today? Even today, like the things that we accomplished and got done today, I had no idea that was going to be happening. Did you know we were going to be doing that? I didn't know.
So
we didn't even know when we did our Casting the Net special mission video that we thought we were going to be doing this video.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no, I think we need to do this one so that we can get the liquid cash we need to just go to the bank in Kansas City. And then the Lord showed us. Can we talk about that? Or the leaves and the stem or is that too much? Well, I got permission. So, and so we have these road trips that the Lord has been just putting on her heart. And they look like, when you map them out on the map, they look like leaves. And the Lord was like, the leaves are for the healing. And there will be, the Lord told me back in 2017, November 2017, he's like, I'm like, Lord, I'm so grieved. Why am I so grieved if you're doing all this amazing stuff? And it's like, well, because you haven't got the promise yet. And there's hope deferred heart sickness until then. And he's like, but there will be healing in the revealing. And so these road trips that we have planned, there's like 4 of them that go in all these 4 different directions, and they look like leaves because they start in Nashville and they go and then they come back, and then they go and then they come back, and it looks like a little 4-leaf clover. But it's like, but it is interesting because, and then there's another trip that we have that goes further across the United States, you know, but that's different. But it's interesting because the Lord showed me today, he was like, so look at what you're doing, Dev. You're going to go to Nashville. We're going to go from Nashville to Kansas City and then come back. What's that look like to you? And I just knew what he was talking about. I was like, oh, that's like the stem of the flower. You have the stem, then you have the leaves, then you have the blossom. And all those different trips are representative of that. We're even well, my daughter is already calling it the stem trip. The stem road trip. It's like the stem, and it's like, well, we're going to come back. And I'm like, so we're going to come back, and we're going to start doing the leaves? That will be super awesome, you know, because there's just, so the Lord's like, when you go on these trips, it's not just, it is to have fun and all that, but it's going to bring healing to your heart. Healing to your heart. 4 different places of, girl, there's 4 different chambers to the heart. That just hit me. That just hit me. The Lord's prophesying and decreeing fullness of healing. Not partial healing, but body, soul, and spirit, and let heaven just come and just baptize all of it. You know what I mean? Fullness of heart healing. And there's going to just be different areas that are going to be getting restoration and all that stuff. And then, you know, when you have a marriage, well, you also have a honeymoon. Well, we have this honeymoon trip that we have planned that's to different corners of the United States. So it's like, that's going to be like the flower, you know? And it's like, so it's almost like the Lord's laid this flower of trips across the United States. And, you know, we've got this little stem, because, you know, a lot of times at weddings, you cut the stem, you got this little bitty stem. But it's like, but what starts first is the stem. It always, the flower comes from the stem. And I feel like this is like our stem trip. I'm like, is this our stem trip, Lord? Where we're this little tiny little stem. And then from that comes, you know, and it's funny because it's not like we've been given a blessing so big that we can even do one of those. We can't. It's just praise the Lord. I mean, I can't praise the Lord enough, but it's like, let's not even look at the money or the blessing for a second, but look at what God's doing. Look at how he's doing it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. What are you getting ready to do? I remember when I met Michelle, every single day was just like, it felt like this. I was like, what's going to happen today? You know, am I going to see her? Am I going to just talk to her? We're just going to email? When are we going to get married?
But it's like with the Lord, it's like, ooh, like, are we going to get more doc series visions? Are we going to, what is he going to do
what's
today?
What's going to happen today?
It's just Lord, what are you going to, I mean,
just like all of a sudden it's become fun and exciting again.
It's like, clear, you're sending us to Kansas City and we're coming back, but what are you going to do?
And exactly, what is this parade?
Exactly.
What does it look like in like day-to-day life? You doing these things. You know?
So
if you want to get a sense of the parade that the Lord has, you can read Psalm 91, 9 through 16. And like each one of those verses is like a float in the parade, you know? But it's like, what's it going to look like in this? But anyway.
That literally could be a video.
That could be a whole, that's why I was like, let me just throw that in there, we'll be done, because that could be a whole.
For real. But so
there you go, guys. That's what's been going on.
Yes, so much. And
now we are in scene 11. 3:11 is huge for us.
Because it's been...
It's huge. It's been with us the entire Nashville journey. Revelation 3:11. Hold fast. so that you don't have your crown taken. Oh, see, we could preach right there off of that.
We could.
There's so. Bye. See you guys. Love you. Bless you. No, I'm kidding.
But we do just pray that you guys have been blessed and that you take great encouragement, just even with what God is doing. And
we're real sensitive about the video length, but you got to do what the Lord wants to do.
You just have
You
to.
cannot be. Paul was like, listen, if I was going to be a man pleaser, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. Trust me. Because it's just, the Lord's not out to please people in the way that people want to be pleased in the flesh, you know? And so...
Yeah. But yeah, so we pray that you guys are blessed and that...
Yes, we love you guys.
Yeah, and again, huge thank you to everyone who...
And you know we're going to be vlogging this trip.
Yeah, who has continued to support us. And so we just appreciate all of you. And like we said, we'll try and keep you guys updated as we go, or just as the Lord leads. As you know, we only really release the videos when we feel led by the Lord to release them. So...
yeah, that's true. We might gather the trip and then release it in some sort of edited fashion, you know? So we'll see.
All right. Well, we love you guys, and we pray just that you would be blessed and that you would see God move upon your life in ways that are just amazing and beyond what you could ask for. So until next time, we will see you later.
Yep. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.